This is Nadir in Chicago, and you are watching my channel, Knowledge for Quality of Life. Friends, I welcome to those who have recently joined the channel. Today, I'm going to share a little background of myself because I believe that, as a part of the community on this channel, you guys should know a little bit about me as my background, and I would like to know about you as well. So if you can include a brief paragraph of intro as a comment with this in on this vlog, I would really appreciate it because some of you have been maybe thinking about me as my background and what I'm sharing here, what credibility do I have. So I want to set the stage and I want to give you a perspective that where I'm coming from and what is the purpose of this channel. And I've said in many vlogs that the purpose of this channel is not to commercialize or revenue generation because I'm not depending a dime on this revenue from this YouTube channel. I'm truly blessed by Almighty as far as the financial freedom is concerned. So I'm not one of those, who are running this channel based on the, remuneration benefits. So I just wanted to give you a perspective that, my background so that, you know exactly what credibility I have or, where I'm coming from. I started my early childhood years back in Bangladesh, which was formerly East Pakistan. I belong to a very, very poor family. And, my parents were not educated at all. They never saw a school in their life. And they were basically street food vendors. And I grew up as one of the sibling of five. I'm the youngest child, and I have four older sisters. And during the Civil War in 1971, we migrated to West Pakistan and we got settled in Karachi, Pakistan. Some of you on this channel who are also subscribers, they know my background and they know me very well. My history and my parents and everything. So I just wanted to set the stage so that all my audience, all my family members of this community know me as well, where I'm coming from. So when we migrated to Karachi, Pakistan, I was in fourth grade. And my elementary schooling was done partly in Bangladesh, which was formerly East Pakistan, and then rest elementary and middle school and high school in Karachi, Pakistan. When I graduated from high school, I had a choice of picking a field in the science. And my mom and my dad worked really hard in their life. They were really struggling to make ends meet. And I'm not exaggerating this thing by any means. Uh, People who are familiar with this my story, they know me and my background, my family's background very well. So I'm coming from that background. So we used to live in two-bedroom apartment in a colony system, and it's very tough to study even at nighttime because you cannot turn the lights on, and sometimes load shedding, and I know that I have a feeling that people who are still living in Karachi, I go, once in every 3, 4 years, I visit that part of the world where I grew up, and I still enjoy when I'm back in Karachi, Pakistan. And one of the reason I'm sharing these things so that some students, some adults may get some kick out of it that I'm actually from that background, and I'm still I have a sympathy, I have a feeling for those folks as well. So sometimes there was a load shedding, and we couldn't study in the bedroom in our two-bedroom apartment. And sometimes we used to go to the common place, which we used to call study center, or sometimes in the in our community center in the foyer area, and sometimes under the street light. So that was my background, and I got my education after high school in NED Engineering University. I did my 4 years of bachelor's in civil engineering, and truly blessed to be part of that institution, and that put my trajectory on that engineering track. And once I graduated, with a seventh merit position out of 298 students, I applied to the U.S. schools to do my graduate program because, I didn't have enough money. I supported myself, my undergrad program, studies by tutoring students. So I used to tutor in a group format, like 3 to 4 students at a time to maximize my profit. And whatever the amount of money I collected, I used to pay my tuition for my undergrad school, all the expenses, my clothing, because I didn't feel like taking money from my hardworking parents, even though I should have actually contributed to make their life easier. But that's how I decided that I'm not going to ask any money from my parents. I'm going to support myself to the best of my ability, and that's what I did. And whatever the money I used to have extra, I used to give. I tried a couple of times to give it to my mom, and my mom would say that save it, in your savings account. One day you will need it. So I was saving that portion, whatever is left over. And when I applied to my graduate program in United States for doing my master's, I had $4,500 draft, in my pocket when I arrived at the O'Hare airport, which I planned to pay my tuition with that money. I came here as a foreign student visa, an F1 visa, and I had first semester tuition in my pocket. So basically, I paid that first semester tuition, and then under the part-time program for my part-time internship and part-time work during the summer. Following summer, I worked my butt off and worked really hard and to accumulate my full semester tuition, and I finished my master's program. All my study coursework, basically 32 credit hour in 9 months, 2 semesters. And then I carried out over my research paper, which is the thesis, by addressing the remaining 2 credit hours per semester. I graduated, did my master's in 1989 from Illinois Tech, and then I started working for the civil service sector. So I joined the Cook County Department of Highways back in June of 1989, and I worked as a junior till the division head of structures. So my area of focus in master's program was structural engineering, and I particularly chose the area of bridges as compared to the buildings. So I worked my way out for 34 years at the county, and I decided to take my retirement, left from the county back in October 2021. After that, I took 2 months off, and I cannot stand still. I could have left my in my retirement years and do nothing, and that's not me. I like to keep my brain active, get moving, and and that's part of my learning. Because I believe always, when I was young, it was instilled by my parents that education is the way forward if you want to change your fortune of your generation. All right, so this was instilled in my head from the childhood that education is the way forward. So that's what drive me all my life. Okay, now as I grew up, I took education in a different perspective. Before I was thinking that, education is merely just getting a 8.5 by 11 diploma and that's it. Once you start, your job and, you get your 6-figure salary and that's it. You have a life, you have a house, you have a car. But I think as I grew up, I started looking from different lens to this education. Education became like a tool. It's like a key to me. Over the years, and that's how I trained my brain. And I said in one of the instances that I trained my brain as a sponge, so that learning and learning, till I kick the bucket. Okay, so this put me on the trajectory of learning, and learning comes from questioning. Questioning means you ask questions, not for the sake of asking questions, but for the sake of learning. Why? Okay. What are the underlying causes? What are the underlying principles? Whatever we do in our life, okay, that's what it's been guided by our leaders over the years, that we have to use our education for whatever we do in our life. We have to underwrite the risk of everything that we do in our life, and that education becomes a learning tool. It's a key. Okay, so a lot of people, if you ask the definition of education from many people, they will tell differently. My definition of education is, how to learn, learning how to learn. Okay, when if somebody asks me, why do I go to school, or why did I go to school? I said that, how to learn. It's called meta learning. Okay, because once you put on that trajectory of learning how to learn, then learning becomes lifelong. Okay, it's not specific to one field. Even though I am an engineer, whole career, my still I'm doing practicing, as a part-time consulting. After my retirement from the county, I started with 2 years with Jacobs, and then 2 years with Delta Engineering, and then I started last November with Graph USA. So I'm working part-time, but that's part of my learning, because I want to keep my structural engineering relevance, so that my brain is active, because we are all aging, and I decided that I'm not going to let my brain sit idle, and because physiologically our brain starts shrinking by itself. Okay, that's a law of nature. We can't do much about it. We cannot defy nature. Okay, but we can do certain things which we can do as a part of the mitigation, so that we can keep growing, and our slowing process of aging becomes very gracefully. Okay, so that I decided to join the consultant, and I'm doing like 20-25 hours per week, and I'm spending my more time in reading, and exercising, going to the walk, and enjoying the nature, couple of times vacation a year. So that's what life is to me. But this thing, it didn't come by default or by automatic. You have to make certain sacrifices in life. So I can tell you one thing, many sacrifices were done, not by me, but my family, my parents, my wife, right? I'll tell you one example that, when I was working for the county, started working from 89, and, planning to sit for the board exam for my SC license, structural engineer license, just like, MD or JD, then, they have a board exam, right? So you have to, sit in the board exam, and these board exams are very tough to pass. So I was planning and, prepping myself that, this is how I'm going to do. And, but time was very, challenging, because, I have a growing family. I have 2 kids, and they demanded time from me. But my wife put her foot down, and she said that, this is when I was, about a year before 1994, when I sat for the exam. Because first, you have to acquire 4 years of structural engineering experience under the supervision of an SC before the board allows you to sit in the exam, approves your paperwork. So I fulfill all that requirement, but now I have to commit myself for prepping for the study. Okay, so that I can equip myself for different subject area of this 3-day exam, which is 24 hours. So my wife put her foot down, and she said that I'm going to leave you at the Edison Public Library. We used to live in Edison, Illinois at that time. And you just forget about me and kids for 3 hours, and I'm going to take the kids to the community center for prayers. And I'm going to drop you at 6 p.m. in the evening, and we'll pick you up at 9. Okay. So this is your 6 month schedule. So that was her sacrifice. And I literally put my 6 months in that study time frame. Okay. And I was prepping for my SE board exam. And that's how I passed my SE back in 94. So each and everything, needs a sacrifice. I remember those days when, our demands were, a growing family. There are a lot of demands which we need to satisfy, which a lot of people think of. But, I realized much sooner that, if you save early enough in your life, the later part of your life becomes easier. Okay. Because I've been always a visionary, and this thing was instilled by my mom. Okay. And I shared one of the story that, when I was coming to United States, I didn't have the one-way ticket, flying ticket. And, the changes from the daily groceries, which my mom saved, that bought me a ticket. Okay. One-way ticket to come from Karachi to Chicago. And that was a very silent lesson taught to me by my mom. She didn't give me a speech 101 on savings or anything like that, but silently she taught me something that, if you save a penny, that's a penny earned. Okay. And that's how I lived my all life. Okay. I'm very frugal in spending money. And it's because I believe that money is a resource. Okay, whoever pays for it, it's a resource. So it needs to be spent thoughtfully. Okay, not just because I'm affluent and I can just spend without thinking about it. Okay, so I did many sacrifices in life. And the challenge is this, that I always try to learn something in my life, that if I do something, it's beneficial to me, how I can help others to benefit. Okay, so I always ask a question in my before I do anything. Okay, is it good for me? First of all, is it ethical? Okay, if it's ethical, yes, my vote is yes. Second, is it good for me and my family? Yes. Okay. Is it good for my community at large? Okay, whom I live with? Okay, so if all these three are yeses, then I will do things wholeheartedly. Okay, and once I learn something from it, then I will try to share with others. People whom I taught back in 80s, I used to tutor a lot back in Karachi. They will vouch for it, that I used to take free coaching classes for those kids who could not afford any private tuition. Okay, so I used to teach them at night time in our coaching classes, as an honorary teacher. And there are many people who joined this service in the past. And I was the product of one of the class as well, because I was the beneficiary. But I realized that, since I was the beneficiary, I have to give it back to that coaching classes, because there are a lot of kids are coming. Okay. So that's how life moves on. So I always, request people that, if you think that something is benefited to you, pay it forward, help others, share with others. Because, at the end of the day, we think that, we are doing others good. But my definition is not, this channel is not for doing good to people. This is the prime objective of this channel is doing it for my own soul. Okay, I'm doing it for myself. In doing so, it may benefit others as well. Okay, that's the whole objective of this channel, and that's the whole objective of my life. So, I always found myself not as a giver, but as a receiver. Okay, so people think that I'm giving an honorary service, or I'm giving a free time, or I'm giving my service, I'm giving so many hours. But at the end of the day, I found myself at the recipient end. Okay, I'm not at the giver end. So that's my always take on doing things. I'm doing it for myself, but at the end of the day, we are not going to take anything from this world. Everything is going to be here. Okay, I'm just going to get, 2 yards plot, where, I'm going to be buried under it. I'm not going to take anything with me. So that's the reality. We came with nothing, we will go with nothing. Okay, so I thought that this concept of sharing, and this I started this channel back in 2023, based on the guidance, because this is taught by my faith, that if you have been privileged in anything, you should get back to the community. You should give back to the community. You should give back to others, okay, for the welfare and for the well-being of others. So in every area, I got indulged in. I always ask a question. For instance, I remember my first car, okay, back in '89 when I started my career. I bought my first car, so I had no idea about car, how it works. I just knew how to sit behind the wheel and drive. Okay, I didn't know anything about the engine. I didn't know anything about the automotive mechanics. Right, so I took it to the dealer for oil change, and I was sitting in the waiting room, and because it was Ford make, Ford Tempo, and make and model. And I took the Ford dealership, as based on the manual, it says that you have to have regular maintenance and all that. So I took it for the oil change to the dealer, and dealers normally charge a lot more than the mom and pop shop. So I was waiting in the waiting area, and there was a glass window through it. You can see that mechanic is working on your car, and I was under the impression that that Ford dealership is going to use the Ford oil. Of course, Ford brand oil. The oil which they make. Not Ford makes the oil, but somebody makes it. Oil manufacturer for the Ford dealer, Ford Motor Company, based on their specs. Okay. So I was willing to pay a little bit extra money for the oil change because it's a OEM specified oil. Okay, but they were using, in those days, Kmart was there, and they used to sell Kendall oil, uh, and that's very cheap oil. So when I saw that mechanic pouring in my engine that Kendall oil, and ran to the customer service manager. I said that I was under the impression that you guys use Motorcraft oil, particularly for OEM specs, and you guys are using Kendall oil. And he said, I'm sorry that we ran out of oil, and he was giving me all these excuses. But even though if they ran out of the oil, instead of using the Kendall oil, they should have asked me, because I'm paying for the Motorcraft oil. Okay, that put me on the track, that questioning thing, that what is it, how difficult it is to change the oil. So I started looking into it, and I questioning myself that what are the nitty gritty details that I need to know for the oil change. And then I bought a book. In those days, there was no online, there was no internet, nothing. So I bought a book from one of the bookstore, Auto Mechanics for Dummies, because I was one of the dummy. And over the years, fast forward, I started learning things, and from changing the oil, from transmission to gear oil, brakes, you name it. Every regular maintenance, I used to do it on my car. I had Toyota Corolla, Toyota Camry, Toyota Sienna. So I used to maintain in my garage, everything, all the service maintenance, and I used to keep a whole folder binder for each and every record, so that in case of issue with the engine, dealership cannot hold me accountable that I didn't bring the car for the regular maintenance, because I have the regular maintenance record, which I've been doing it. Each and every screw I put on the car, I have the record. So that's how I learn, right? Now, in doing so, I saved, for my each car, life, almost $20,000 to $25,000 in maintenance service cost. Okay, so when I started, buying the car for the next, when I, sell, junk my car, sold my second, used car, I bought the car that money which was saved, I put a hefty down payment and, bought my another car. Okay. Because that I was carrying out, I was logging each and every maintenance cost on my spreadsheet how much I saved as compared to the dealer. Okay. So that's how I learned about because this concept of learning, I'm just illustrating here this concept of learning. There's nothing in life which you cannot learn. Now, I'm not saying by any means that I'm trying to replace an auto mechanic. No, I'm not saying that. Uh, what I'm saying is that, if you're inquisitive enough, okay, if you're inquisitive enough to learn something, you are able to do it. It's nothing that, you cannot do it. Yes, there are certain things which you need some expertise for that. And by all means, we have to go to that expertise. Okay. So when I started looking into my own health, in the early days, I've been doing a health checkup. When I caught my own vitamin D deficiency back in 2015, my doctor never caught it. My previous doctor, and I replaced my that doctor, and I have another doctor, and before my vitamin D was deficient, I used to get 3 or 4 times infections in a year. But from 2015, I'm truly blessed that this vitamin D, when I started looking into it as a prohormone, saved my life. Not only, my health, but, my entire family and my colleagues, my extended family members. Okay. And when I started looking into this vitamin D, I started questioning that, what are the things which this health, how health works, how this body functions. And one after the other, this is like, you peel off one peel, you take one peel off, then another peel off, and then another peel off. So one after the other, I started looking things totally differently. This is called part of the learning. Now, I didn't learn things overnight. No, it took me years and years. Still, I'm learning. I'm on this trajectory. So I want you to understand that, my background is not medicine background. My background is engineering background, but as a consumer, I'm part of you. Okay. I'm not an expert by any means. Okay. But one thing is very unique about me, that I don't give up very quick. Okay. Uh, some people who taught me, they will vouch for me. They are on this channel, that I don't give up easily on things. Okay. And when I look at those things, day in and out, over and over to find the answers, in this exercise, I learn a lot. Okay. And that's the process of learning. Okay. The process of learning is perpetual. It's not, it doesn't start at one point and it ends at one point. It's perpetual, it's constant, it's continuous. And that's what I want you to understand. Because I see on variety of these platforms like YouTube channel or LinkedIn or Facebook, you name it, social media, people are trying to find quick fixes. Okay. 3 minutes video, one pill, to fix things. My mom taught me when I was a kid, there's no such thing as shortcut. Okay. The long route is always difficult, but certain. Okay. It's going to take you somewhere. This body, we've been mutilating for years and years. Okay. It cannot be rectified. It cannot be fixed overnight. If some doctors are telling you that, take this pill or take this thing for 3 days and, detoxify your liver, he's probably trying to sell you the channel. Most likely, it's not going to be. Body doesn't get fixed like that. Okay. You have to do the right things and let the body correct itself. It takes its course. Everything takes its course. Okay. Even this is how nature taught us. This is how nature works. Okay. So please try to understand that, that my background is not in one area. Whatever I did in the house, from remodeling, I did a lot of due diligence, and, with very optimizing the cost. Okay. I got best of the best material, but at the least cost I can spend. Okay. So when people ask me that, oh, how I got my HVAC entire unit for $7,500, whereas it's costing around close to 15,000, in 2019. Of course, I'm talking about 2019 dollars, but I did a lot of legwork for that. Okay, it's not like I picked up, one contractor and I got the quote and I said, well, let's do it. Okay, I did a lot of legwork. I understood the machine. I understood the HVAC. I understood the SEER content in the compressor, and then I put it together a proposal, a scope of work which I'm looking for. And then I called out 5 contractors in separate bids for the same spec. Okay. And I picked the lowest bidder. And that's what I learned over the years as part of my training. So this learning and this education, I'm trying to solve it in my daily life. That's all it is. Okay. So I'm a very, very informed and inquisitive consumer. Okay. I don't take anything at a face value. If somebody tells me, right, that this is this, and I will verify it first. I will question it. I may be wrong, then I will accept it. I was wrong. Okay. Because I learned something new. So I hope that, people who are watching me on this channel, they understood my background, that I don't have any medical background. Okay. I don't have any educational background, but I'll tell you that, I have a very strong education. I've dealt with students, for over 40 years. I was teaching before, right? I taught my 2 sons when they were little. They are not engineer by any means, because God has created each one of us unique. Okay. And I don't, with this unique wiring, I was teaching them science in the beginning, but, they turned out to be a business acumen. Okay. So they had a business interest. So I put them on the track on that thing. Okay. I didn't try to rewire them for engineering, because, a lot of parents try to do that, and that's torturing your kids. Okay. Take the best out of an individual and harness that, polish it, nurture it. So basically, when they graduated from high school, I put them, the question was that, this was a question that how I'm going to put my 2 sons through the, university program, because universities are very expensive. This is the, one of the, after buying a home, is the second largest expense which a parent can put their kids to 4-year program in university. So this was my question as a consumer as well, because as I said earlier, I'm part of you guys, okay, as a consumer. But I thought about it that, what are the ways and means I can, come up with that I can save something. So when I was digging up the literature, I came up with this idea of why not look at the community college program. And then I zoomed in a little bit more, that community college program has a special honors program, which is not for all. You have to get accepted in this honors program. And this is one of the best thing you can do to your kids. Okay. Now, in doing so, my both kids, went to the honors program at the community college, College of DuPage, which is the second largest community college, I believe, after Orange County in California. And it's almost 5 minutes walk from my house. Okay. So I sent both the kids first 2 years in the community college. Okay. And then transferred them to the 4-year university elite program in their respective field of study. And each and every course I designed, I created an Excel spreadsheet, and I handed to them that in case if something happens to me, you follow this path, which I'm handing it to you. Okay. So there's no thinking process. There's nothing, of course, they didn't like it in the beginning because they didn't see the vision which I had. Okay. At that time, they thought that it was too much work. But I knew today's age and technology where we are heading. So I prepared them accordingly so that they can sell themselves much better in the years ahead with this, equipped education. So I prepared them to have a dual degree program. So when they, transferred to the respective schools, one from U of I Urbana and one from Southern Illinois University, they did the dual degree program in their respective schools. Okay, in the same time frame. But you have to be planner for that, which I did already, and created an Excel spreadsheet because I was making sure that, these classes, each classes is fulfilled at the community college level at much cheaper rate or cost per credit hour than the 4-year program. In doing so, I saved almost 200 grand, for both the kids. So my wife said one day that, if you can do this thing for your kids, why don't you do it for others? And that was a very thought-provoking idea. And I started looking into it, and I came up with this College Planning and Transition LLC name, and I incorporated myself as a consultant to the state of Illinois. Okay, so I started that as a part-time consulting. Of course, I'm not advertising anywhere, but I am a consultant as well for high school students. Okay, and after that, I have helped many students. Now, sometimes, I give them the guiding post as advice. They can overrule me. They can go against me by all means. Because what I see the talent in the kid, I just give my recommendations. Okay, and sometimes I have seen that people who follow through, they have seen the results. People who don't follow through, they have seen the results accordingly. So these are the different areas which I got indulged as a consumer, and I came up with these innovative ideas and thinking and out of the box thinking, and I thought that this is a part of a common person consumer like me. If I have achieved this in 35, 40 years in these different areas, why not share with the community at large? And that's how I created this channel. So this channel is purely based on that concept. Okay, so if you have any ideas or any concerns as a consumer that you want to hear, and I may have experienced that, I will share in a form of vlog. Please include that thing in your comment section, and be part of this community as an active member and participating, because I'm totally thinking that this 981 or 82 folks who are on this channel as part of my family. Okay, so if you like this channel, share with others, pay it forward. It may help somebody improving their quality of life. That's why I chose the name of this handle, Knowledge for QOL. QOL stands for quality of life. Knowledge for quality of life. Okay, because I believe that there are 13 or 14 factors. There are 13 or 14 parameters which combine improves one's quality of life, and there are 3 only I'm discussing here. Education, personal finance, and health. These are the 3 leading horses basically, and I hope you learned some background from myself, from me today on this in this vlog. And if you have any questions or I try to consolidate everything of my 40 plus years of journey in this short vlog. If you have any concerns or questions regarding my stage of that journey, you can poke me in the comment section, and I'll try to respond. And once I get enough inquiries, a variety of inquiries, I may do another vlog, a short vlog, to address those inquiries in any topic. in not only in this vlog, but any topic. Okay, I hope you learned something today, and I just wanted to set the stage for my background and my perspective of my all hardworking journey and this life. As part of the family member, I love to hear from you as well, which part of the world you are from, and what is your background, and who you are. So that will give me enough boost to cherish you as well, that what background you are coming from. I hope to see you next week. Until then, bye.